Hi, welcome to Paranormal Kativity. Today I want to discuss ways to attract paranormal and supernatural energy to you, and then I have a bit of a tangent that I want to go into at the end that will hopefully open up into a discussion in the comments section for everybody. So, to begin with, ways to attract paranormal energy to you. Traditionally, it's thought that paranormal energy, ghosts, the supernatural, whatever term you feel comfortable deeming it, things of the unknown, are attached to a handful of things. It can be the land, the house, the person involved, an object, or it could be related to renovations. And with the renovations, it kind of went on to elaborate regarding the beings kind of feeling towards the renovations. So you would either have activity where like tools are being misplaced or hidden, or things get ripped down that were just put up, and that would kind of indicate that whatever is in that house is not happy with the decisions that you're making. Or it could just be general like noises and feelings and just activity at a higher level than you're used to, or even helpful activity, like you can't find something and then it appears for you, and that would be more of an indication that it's excited that, you know, the house that it decided to be attached to for whatever reason is being taken care of. Many people feel like increasing the energy will increase paranormal activity, and energy was divided into physical, emotional, and metaphysical. Physical energy would be if you're doing something with your physical body. So if you're cleaning your house, if you're doing a workout, if you're doing housework, lawn work, things where you're physically moving your body, that would increase the energy, but not as much as other ways would. Emotional energy is definitely the most unpredictable because it has to do with your emotions, and a lot of times emotions are harder to control, especially more volatile emotions like fear or hate or things that, you know, get you upset very quickly. If they have a quick reaction in your body, then supposedly they have a quick reaction with energies outside of you that you're attracting. And a lot of schools of thought were saying if you have these negative feelings, that energies around that like to feed off of or be close to those energies will be able to see you faster, get closer to you faster, and then you'll be more vulnerable to feeling what they're doing around you. Emotions that are happier or more lighthearted are going to give you a slower, more gradual buildup of the energy, and usually it's easier to work with. So I feel like a lot of times, like whenever people watch my Ouija videos, I get a lot of feedback that's like, you're laughing an awful lot or you're having a really good time. It's kind of the way I am. And it seems like for the most part, if you have that kind of demeanor, that it will attract that kind of energy back most of the time. I'm sure there's instances where people believe that they don't. But it would attract energy at a slower rate, a more predictable rate, and then you would be more comfortable with it overall because of your mindset as well. Metaphysical energy is anything that you're doing mentally, spiritually in that moment. So that also has to do with like if people are in a group setting, for example, and you want to open or close some kind of session with protection or prayer or whatever it is that you feel connected to, even a moment of silence, you're getting your mental state into a place where you feel more comfortable, and you're putting that out there so that that energy is drawing things, again, that are similar to where you're at. So you're putting out there at a slower rate and a more intentional rate than just by emotion what you're hoping to get done in that session, and then that will come back. I've also been in groups where singing is used. Whenever I would do the table tipping sessions that I still have yet to introduce you guys to on this channel, and I want to so badly, whenever we would open with those, we would all like sing or hum a song as the table started to move until it got a real rhythm to it. And that's just another way to increase the energy. A lot of that kind of goes back to my video on ways to cleanse your own house. Sound is a way that you can cleanse a space because you're putting your vibration and intention into that area. So by shifting the energy of the room by singing, you can either raise the energy levels if you're with a group of people, or if you wanted to push something away, you kind of have command of the space. Of course, there are environmental influences as well that can affect your energy. I read a lot about people using electronic ghost hunting tools or paranormal investigation tools, and how those up the energy, because they do. I've been in some situations where sometimes you're not getting a whole lot. You turn on a ghost box for a little while, and just the cycling of the sounds and the feeling in the room shifts. And while it's partially your own perception, because those sounds make you feel a different way, while it's changing the way you feel, it's changing the way that the room feels, and it can up the energy and make it shift and draw in different energy. Then there are situations where it's like truly the place where you're at, where it could be EMF readings, which I have seen some amazing situations where EMF detectors are used in communication, and I feel like it genuinely has some unexplained properties to it. But there's EMF levels in a lot of places, and those can give you physical reactions. So you do have to be kind of careful when it comes to that electronic phenomenon. And some people do feel like it attracts paranormal energies. Some people feel like the results are purely just the way our human body reacts to that energy. So I feel like that could be debunked in a lot of ways. But when it's like the communication side of it, and you can see it staying in a stationary place and the levels changing, that's very interesting, and I enjoy that very much. So I don't feel like that is what I'm talking about in regard to this. Also, if you are close to a conduit that's natural, for example, limestone was a huge one in my research. If you are near land that has a large amount of limestone, it's said that you get a large amount of paranormal activity. And it's just because that property inside that stone holds energy and attracts energy in a much different way than other stones and other parts of the land. And also, if you've watched my video on stones, then you've seen where stones are said to have different metaphysical properties. Again, this is all up to your own belief system and your own feelings regarding it. I'm not saying any of this is 100% for sure, because no one knows in the lovely realm of the paranormal what's real and what's not, and what's provable and what isn't. So all of this is just theoretical and open for being used and hopefully proven or disproven. So having said the different categories of why things are attracting the paranormal, the tangent that I want to go into is I have been on this kick this week where I'm doing a lot of research about woods. And I don't know if it's just the place where I've lived my whole life, which is a very rural country out there in the middle of nowhere kind of place. I live in a town, but surrounded by country. I went to school in the country. I grew up out there, like, where nothing is. There's no streetlights. Like, it's just empty, and there's lots of woods and forests. And if you've watched the video about my brother being a part of the demon hunters group, what they would do is go out in the woods and scare themselves, basically. But I really feel like there is something linked to this unsettling feeling of the woods at night. And when I was trying to do research to see if there was a reason behind this, there's really not. The first thing that my mind goes to would be like natural energy, possibly like elemental type energy. But all of the cases of that, while some of them are described as mischievous, the overall feeling of those environments is supposed to be one of like peace and inspiration and just a kind of playful nature, not necessarily scary. And it really could just be me in my own head overthinking the woods. But there are too many movies and books based out in the middle of the country. And I understand, like, people sometimes can affect reasoning as well. Like, if you think of, like, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it's a family out in the woods, and granted that was based off of a real person, but that's a whole other story, and one that I hope to get into at some point. It's more like I've had encounters out in the woods with people, and people acting weird. In the video where we talked about pranking our friend in the cemetery, and we got chased out of that cemetery by a guy in a truck that was just sitting in the cemetery in the dark by himself waiting on people to come there, that's scary. And it's out in the middle of nowhere, and it's got woods on one side of it. So I associate that with that, but that's a person. And then I also have another instance where I was driving home through the country with my brother. We drove through some woods. There was a car, well, it was a truck, and it had like the big crate things for dogs in the back, and there were dogs freaking out, and as soon as we went around this truck, it kicked on the lights and chased us almost all the way home with these like angry dogs locked in the back of it. Super terrifying, right? But that was a person in the woods and not like the woods itself. But I feel like there's so many movies and situations and books that lend to the fact that woods are creepy at night. Even the movie that we just watched on Netflix and Chills did that. And it's just the uncertainty of what's out there. But I, for the life of me, cannot figure out why it's so scary. Everything that I'm finding research-wise that would be attracting paranormal energy is mostly related to individual people. And those people attracting that energy in different ways. Not the place. And I understand that I'd mentioned limestone and different types of natural element kind of things that could raise energy. I don't think every set of woods in Indiana that I've been to has something to it. You know? I don't think that that would give it a reason for all of that. So anyway, that's kind of my tangent that I wanted to go on is, do you guys have any possible reasoning or good resources that I could kind of look into as to why this feeling is so universal? Or is it only universal to people who grew up out in the middle of nowhere like myself? Because that's relatable to us. You know, maybe the fact that a lot of horror movies take place in more urban areas lends to the fact that more people live in those areas, so that's scarier to those people. So maybe it's only scary to people who live out in the country. But I don't think it is. I think there's something more to it, and I don't fully grasp it. So any input would be greatly appreciated. Thank you in advance. And now that this video is wrapping up, I did receive something in my P.O. box that I wanted to open from Alexandra, I believe. We've been talking on Twitter. You know who you are. Oh! 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 Oh, things are falling! Oh, it's all handmade! How cute! Okay. And a letter. Alex, don't apologize, first of all, for sending me something later than you'd planned. You sent me something. That's awesome. Thank you. And hooray for almost time for graduation for you. She made me cup cozies and a hat. She says she knows it gets super cold in Indiana. It does. And I have quite a few travel cups that I would love to have warmer. So look how cute. That's so fun. And she has a little shop called Yarny Couture. Couture? Yarny Couture? Is that how you say that? I don't know. But I will link it below. And I also have a hat. Although I'm not gonna lie to you, I look real dopey in these kind of like beanie hats. Never really been able to pull them off, guys. But maybe I will, because this one's pretty cute. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and thanks Alex for sending me all the cool stuff. I really appreciate it. If you guys want to thumbs up or thumbs down this video to let me know if you like it, if you're interested in this kind of stuff, because this is just like plagued my mind all week. I have so many other things that I could be discussing, but I had to get this out. It's like something's bugging me about it, and I need to know if I'm the only one who doesn't really get the whole woods connotation to being creepy, but it feels it, but knows there's something creepy to it. So please do talk to me in the comments, let me know your thoughts, let me know if you have any reasonings behind it, because I would really appreciate hearing them. If you haven't yet, please do subscribe and turn on notifications, that way you get notified every time I upload. I'm Kat, and this is Paranormal Kativity. Have a strange day. My monitor turned off. It's okay. It just timed out. Okay, bye!